The 2001 Vermont State Quarter is part of the United States Mint's 50 State Quarters program, one of the most successful and widely collected coin series in American history. This coin was issued in 2001 to honor the state of Vermont, which became the 14th state to join the Union in 1791. The year 1791 on the coin commemorates Vermont's statehood, while 2001 marks the year the coin was minted. On the obverse, or front side, of the coin is the familiar portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States, which has appeared on the quarter dollar since 1932. This design was originally created by sculptor John Flanagan, whose initials JF can be found on the bust. Surrounding the portrait are inscriptions that have become standard on U.S. coinage: United States of America along the upper rim, Liberty to the left of Washington's neck, In God We Trust to the right, and the denomination quarter dollar at the bottom. The mint mark P beneath the motto indicates that this particular coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the main facilities of the U.S. Mint responsible for producing circulation coins. The reverse side, designed by T. James Farrell, vividly captures a scene emblematic of Vermont's rural and historical character. The design features a man collecting sap from maple trees, a nod to the state's famous maple syrup industry, one of the most iconic aspects of Vermont's economy and culture. The background shows Camel's Hump Mountain, one of the state's most recognizable natural landmarks. The inscriptions include Vermont at the top, the year of statehood 1791, and the year of issue 2001. Beneath the image are the state's official motto, Freedom and Unity, and the national motto, E pluribus unum, Latin for out of many one. These words collectively reflect both Vermont's independent spirit and its commitment to the unity of the United States. The motto, Freedom and Unity, has deep historical resonance. It reflects the balance between individual independence and collective cooperation that Vermonters have cherished since the state's founding. Vermont was notably an independent republic from 1777 until it joined the United States in 1791, and that legacy of self-reliance continues to shape its identity today. The Vermont State Quarter was released as the fourth coin in the 2001 series, following the issues for New York, North Carolina, and Rhode Island, and preceding Kentucky. Each of these state quarters was produced for a limited time and was designed to celebrate the unique heritage, geography, and symbolism of each state. The 50 State Quarters program itself was authorized by Congress in 1997 and began in 1999, running for 10 years through 2008. Every year, 5 new state quarters were issued in the order that the states entered the Union. The Vermont Quarter therefore occupies a special place as a mid-series issue, representing both historical reflection and the cultural distinctiveness of one of America's smaller but most independent-minded states. In terms of technical specifications, the 2001 Vermont Quarter, like all state quarters made for circulation, is composed of cupronickel-clad, that is, an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a core of pure copper. It weighs 5.67 grams, has a diameter of 24.26 millimeters, and features a reeded edge. These quarters were mass-produced for circulation and are not made of silver unless they are special proof or collector's editions. The U.S. Mint produced millions of these coins at both its Philadelphia, P, and Denver, D, facilities, ensuring that nearly every American encountered one in pocket change. Specifically, over 423 million Vermont quarters were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, making the coin widely available. However, even with such large production numbers, certain varieties and minting errors can make specific examples more valuable to collectors. Collectors often look for minting errors such as off-center strikes, double die errors, where lettering or design details appear doubled, die cracks, or missing elements caused by die wear. Some Vermont quarters have been found with striking anomalies that slightly increase their value. Generally speaking, though, most 2001 Vermont quarters found in circulation today hold only face value, 25 cents, while uncirculated examples, coins that were never released into general use and remain in mint condition, may be worth around $1 to $3 depending on quality. A proof version, struck with specially polished dies for collectors, can range in value from $5 to $10, while rare error coins can fetch $50 or more at auction if certified by a grading company such as PCGS or NGC. From a symbolic and historical standpoint, the Vermont Quarter captures the essence of American state pride and the nation's connection to its regional identities. The image of maple trees being tapped for sap not only references Vermont's economic staple, but next top. The United States quarter dollar is one of the most recognizable coins in American history. It has evolved in both design and symbolism over more than 2 centuries, serving not only as currency, but also as a reflection of the nation's identity, heritage, and regional pride. The coin you mention, a 2007 Utah quarter, belongs to the celebrated 50-state quarters program, which was launched by the U.S. Mint in 1999 and continued through 2008. Each coin in the series was issued to honor one of the 50 states, released in the order in which the states joined the Union. The Utah quarter, issued in 2007, represents the 45th state, which entered the United States on January 4, 1896. The P Mint mark indicates that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the primary facilities of the U.S. Mint system. The obverse front of the coin continues to feature the traditional portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States. This portrait was originally designed by sculptor John Flanagan in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of Washington's birth. Above his head, the word liberty symbolizes one of the founding ideals of the nation. To the left is the national motto, "In God We Trust," adopted officially in the mid-20th century, but long used to express America's spiritual and moral faith. Below Washington's bust are the words "quarter dollar," denoting the coin's face value of 25 cents. The mint mark P, for Philadelphia, typically appears to the right of Washington's ponytail. Although the portrait has undergone slight modifications over time, particularly with new minting techniques introduced in the late 1990s, the image remains a lasting symbol of unity and historical continuity. The reverse back of the Utah quarter captures the state's nickname, Crossroads of the West, a title reflecting Utah's pivotal role in connecting the nation during the 19th century. The design depicts 2 golden spikes joining the front ends of 2 locomotives facing each other, representing the historic completion of the first transcontinental railroad at Promontory Summit, Utah, on May 10, 1869. This monumental event symbolized the linking of the eastern and western United States by rail for the first time in history, dramatically transforming transportation, commerce, and communication. The image of the trains converging from opposite directions embodies not only the triumph of engineering and human perseverance, but also the ideal of national unity after the divisions of the Civil War. Above the locomotives, the coin bears the word Utah and the year of statehood, 1896, while below is the year of minting, 2007. At the bottom, the U.S. motto, E pluribus unum, out of many one, reaffirms the idea that America's diversity is bound together by shared purpose and destiny. The artistic details of the Utah quarter were carefully chosen. The 2 trains, modeled after the Union Pacific No. 119 and the Central Pacific's Jupiter, are shown nose-to-nose at the moment the ceremonial final spike was driven, completing the rail link between Omaha, Nebraska, and Sacramento, California. This event reduced coast-to-coast travel from months to days and opened new economic opportunities that would shape the American West for generations. The golden spike itself, shown in the center, was an actual object made of solid gold and driven symbolically during the ceremony to celebrate the uniting of the rails. The Utah State Quarters designer, Joseph Mena, captured this historic moment with precision, emphasizing movement, balance, and industrial power while still maintaining clarity in the small space of a coin. Utah's nickname, Crossroads of the West, also has broader meaning. Beyond the literal rail connection, Utah has long been seen as a meeting point of cultures, geographies, and faiths. The early settlers, primarily members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Mormons, established communities that grew into hubs of agriculture, industry, and trade. The state's geographic location in the center of the western United States made it a natural gathering place for travelers, settlers, and later, major highways and airlines. The quarter's imagery pays tribute not only to the railroad but also to Utah's enduring role as a connector between East and West, tradition and progress, isolation and integration. As part of the 50-state quarters program, the 2007 Utah Quarter was among the final releases, and its popularity reflected both local pride and national appreciation. Millions of these coins were minted for circulation, but uncirculated or proof versions, especially those struck in 90% silver, are prized by collectors. The P. Mintmark quarters from Philadelphia generally have a circulation strike, meaning they were made for everyday use, while D. Mintmark coins came from Denver and S. Mintmark versions were often sold in special collector sets. While most 2007 next top. The Alaska Quarter, released in 2008, is one of the final issues of the United States Mint's 50-state quarters program, a circulating commemorative series that ran from 1999 to 2008. Authorized by Congress in 1997, the program honored each of the 50 U.S. states with a unique reverse design, issued in the order that the states joined the Union. Alaska, having been admitted as the 49th state on January 3, 1959, received its quarter near the end of the series, symbolically connecting the year of its statehood, 1959, with the closing chapter of the program, 2008. The obverse front of the coin bears the familiar portrait of George Washington, originally sculpted by John Flanagan and first used on the Washington Quarter in 1932. On all state quarters, this portrait was slightly modified by sculptor William Cousins to give it a sharper, more modern relief. Surrounding Washington's bust are the inscriptions United States of America, Liberty, In God We Trust, and the denomination $quarter. The mint mark appears to the right of Washington's ponytail. In your coin's case, the D mint mark indicates that it was produced at the Denver Mint. The reverse back of the Alaska Quarter is where the state's identity shines through. The design was chosen through a public input process managed by the state government and finalized by the U.S. Mint's engravers. The winning design, sculpted by Charles L. Vickers, portrays a majestic grizzly bear emerging from the wild Alaskan landscape, clutching a salmon in its jaws. The scene captures the essence of Alaska's natural abundance and its awe-inspiring wilderness. Above the bear is the legend, Alaska 1959, marking the year the state entered the Union, and below appears its proud nickname, the Great Land. The inscription E pluribus unum, Latin for out of many one, appears at the bottom, as on all U.S. coins, symbolizing unity among the states. The bear symbolizes Alaska's vast wildlife and rugged spirit. Grizzly bears are iconic residents of Alaska, embodying both strength and independence, qualities that reflect the character of the people who call the state home. The salmon, an essential resource and a cornerstone of both Alaska's ecosystem and economy, highlights the state's deep connection to nature and sustainable living. Together, these two symbols convey the balance between might and sustenance, predator and prey, wilderness and life, central to the Alaskan environment. The background suggestion of icy mountains and forest terrain underscores Alaska's dramatic geography and harsh beauty, earning it the title The Great Land, a translation of Alyeska, the Aleut word from which the state's name is derived. When it was released on August 25, 2008, the Alaska Quarter quickly became a favorite among collectors and the general public alike. It was minted in both Philadelphia, P, and Denver, D, for circulation, as well as in San Francisco, S, in proof versions, both clad and silver. The Denver minted coins, such as the one you have, were struck in enormous numbers for everyday use, but pristine uncirculated or proof specimens remained desirable among numismatists. Each state quarter was issued for about 10 weeks before the next one entered circulation, meaning that the Alaska coin represented one of the final circulating commemoratives before the series concluded with Hawaii later that same year. By the end of the 50-state quarters program, over 34 billion quarters had been minted and distributed, sparking widespread public interest in coin collecting, especially among younger generations who first learned about U.S. history and geography through the designs. In terms of composition, the 2008 Alaska quarter follows the standard clad format of modern U.S. coinage, an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, giving it a total mass of 5.67 grams and a diameter of 24.26 millimeters. Special proof and silver editions contain 90% silver and 10% copper, reflecting the classic pre-1965 silver coinage standard. The inscriptions on the coin tell a layered story. "In God We Trust," first mandated on U.S. coinage during the Civil War, remains a timeless motto of faith and national identity. "Liberty" serves as both a historical and philosophical anchor of American democracy, appearing on every denomination since the founding of the mint. "E Pluribus Unum" connects all 50 designs within the broader American narrative, each state distinct, yet part of a greater whole. The combination of statehood year, 1959, and release year, 2008, reminds collectors of the passage of nearly half a century since Alaska joined the Union and of the closing decade of a transformative era in modern American coinage. Collectors often appreciate the Alaska quarter not only for its aesthetic power, but also for what it represents. Alaska's admission in 1959, alongside Hawaii later that same year, expanded the physical and symbolic boundaries of the United Next Top. The South Carolina State Quarter, officially released in 2000, is one of the most distinctive and historically symbolic coins in the United States Mint's 50 State Quarters program, which ran from 1999 to 2008. This particular coin honors the state of South Carolina, which became the 8th state to ratify the U.S. Constitution in 1788, a date that is prominently inscribed on the reverse of the coin. The coin's obverse, like all the other state quarters, features the familiar right-facing portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States, originally designed by John Flanagan and later adapted by William Cousins for the State Quarters series. Around Washington's profile are the inscriptions "United States of America," "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and "Quarter Dollar." Just below the image, one can see the mint mark P, identifying the coin as having been produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Although millions of these coins were struck, the Philadelphia issue, like its Denver counterpart, holds both sentimental and numismatic interest because it represents a part of one of the most popular coin programs in modern American history. The reverse design, created by Thomas D. Rogers Sr., captures the essence of South Carolina's heritage, geography, and pride through a combination of natural and cultural symbols. Dominating the composition is the outline of the state itself, bordered by the inscription "South Carolina" at the top and the Palmetto State below, a reference to South Carolina's official nickname, which honors the hardy palmetto tree. The Cibao palmetto, depicted to the left of the state outline, was chosen because of its historical significance. During the Revolutionary War, the soft, fibrous wood of palmetto logs helped absorb cannon fire in the Battle of Sullivan's Island in 1776, protecting Charleston from a British attack. Beside the palmetto, a small Carolina wren perches gracefully, representing the official state bird. Above it, the delicate blooms of the yellow jessamine, South Carolina's state flower, add a touch of natural beauty and color symbolism. At the lower right, a five-pointed star marks the capital city, Columbia, while the coin's central design balances the natural motifs with the proud outline of the state's boundaries, emphasizing both its identity and contribution to the Union. Across the lower edge appears the Latin motto "E Pluribus Unum," meaning "out of many, one," a traditional phrase appearing on U.S. coins since the 18th century, signifying the unity of the diverse states under one federal nation. The South Carolina quarter was the 8th coin released in the 50-state quarter series, following New Hampshire and preceding Virginia, and it entered general circulation on May 22, 2000. It was struck in both Philadelphia, bearing the P mint mark, and Denver, D, for circulation, as well as in San Francisco, S, for proof sets, including both clad and silver versions for collectors. The circulating quarters were minted in copper-nickel-clad composition, consisting of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, giving the coin its characteristic silvery appearance and durability. Each coin weighs 5.67 grams, has a diameter of 24.26 millimeters, and a reeded edge, with 119 reeds. Although billions of South Carolina quarters were produced, approximately 742 million from the Philadelphia Mint and 566 million from the Denver Mint, high-grade examples, particularly those with sharp strikes, full luster, or mint errors, remain of interest to collectors. Some notable varieties include off-center strikes, die cracks along the state outline, and double die reverses, which can slightly enhance numismatic value. Symbolically, the South Carolina quarter embodies not just state pride, but also the broader narrative of American unity, resilience, and diversity that the State Quarters program was designed to celebrate. The inclusion of three distinct state symbols, the palmetto, the Carolina wren, and the yellow jessamine, alongside the map outline serves as a microcosm of the state's environment and history. South Carolina played a major role in early American history, being one of the 13 original colonies and the first state to secede during the Civil War, yet its legacy continues to influence the nation's cultural and economic fabric. The quarter's design, therefore, carries both historic reverence and a spirit of renewal, commemorating more than 2 centuries of growth since 1788, the year proudly inscribed beneath the state name. For collectors, the coin is a tangible reminder of how art, history, and national identity intersect through everyday objects. For casual holders, it's a small but enduring emblem of South Carolina's beauty and significance. Over the years, the South Carolina 2000 P quarter has also become a subject of study in modern U.S. numismatics. While its face value remains 25 cents, uncirculated and proof S.